Commanders hire Dan Quinn to match with their new general manager, Adam Peters, to lead this franchise into the future.
The way that we live is not for everybody, okay? It's not, all right? Because we're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders, Lightning, Lose. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, it's week 2. It's the New York Football Giants. It's the Washington Commanders. Both teams are 0-1. This is a big game. I don't have to explain that to you as to why, but I'm going to anyway. And there are a lot of reasons why this is a must-win game for the Washington Commanders. No, it's not, code red, although it could feel like that to some, but it's a pretty big deal. And to me, this game is massive for a multitude of reasons, but there's one that stands above the rest. And I'm going to tell you that one reason a little bit later on. But first, I'm going to give you all the other reasons. Some may be ancillary, some may be personal vendettas that I have. Others may just be things I'm sick and tired of. But there's one thing that I think all of us can attest to, and that's the biggest reason that this game is a must-win for the Commanders. But let's just talk about the ancillary stuff, right? We're wearing gold pants. Gold pants alert. Gold pants alert. Hey, how about that, right? Let's do it for the gold pants. One time for the gold pants. For the first time being rolled out since 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. Let's do it for the gold pants. One time for the one time. How about Northwest Stadium? Being christened Northwest Stadium, the taste of FedEx Field, the stench of FedEx Field has been moved, all right, has been wiped away and removed. And now we just have this, Northwest Stadium. First time we're playing in the newly christened Northwest Stadium. How about we get a win there? Because it's the first game in Northwest Stadium. Look, we didn't win a game in the NFC East last season. 0-6 a season ago. Can't get any worse than that. And it was embarrassing, but it was necessary, right? It was for a purpose. It's helped us get to where we are now. And then there are the Giant reasons. Last 4 contests against the Giants, 0-3-1. Sick of tired of losing to the Giants in general, right? They just have been a team. Even when we won the division back in 2020, the Giants swept us that year. They were the only team in the division to beat us that year. We swept the Cowboys. We swept the Eagles. But somehow we still managed to lose to the lowly Joe Judge coached New York Football Giants. Unbelievable. Just sick and tired of losing to the Giants, right? Yeah. Then there's Daniel Jones. And John Keim had the stat of the day. And I just thought I'd roll this out for you just so you can, because sometimes you need to see things visually to comprehend how bad it is, right? This is the tweet from John Keim today. Now, he amended this tweet, and I'm going to tell you what what he amended here. But Daniel Jones is 5-2-1. He amended the tweet to reflect that Daniel Jones is actually 5-1-1 against us, not 5-2-1. He did not play in that 2022 season finale with the 2 quarterback sneaks, or excuse me, the 2021, I think, season finale with the 2 quarterback sneaks. He did not play in that game. The 2021 season finale with the 2 quarterback sneaks. That was our old friend, or your old friend, not my friend, the Georgia quarterback that was here for a couple of years that stunk, that I wanted no parts of. That was the guy that started that game. Remember the pick 6 by Bobby McCain? And I was like, he's going to be here next year because of that shit, right? Anyway, Daniel Jones is 5-1-1 versus Washington. But a huge problem has been Washington's offense. The Commanders have scored more than 20 points only twice in their last 8 meetings versus the Giants. 6 versus DJ, or in the last 6 versus DJ, Washington has allowed 20 or fewer points 4 times, one more than 23, right? Yet they're still 2-3-1. Woof. So essentially what John Keim is telling you there is, as bad as the defense has been, and as much as we want to make it seem like Daniel Jones kills us, it's not the case. It's really, truly, our offense has been the problem most of the time because, again, I've said this a million times. The one time that the defense surrendered 23 points or more, we won that game. That was the 29-27 field goal, Thursday Night Football, week 2. Dexter Lawrence offsides, get a redo on the missed field goal, and we win. That was the one time they surrendered more than 23 points. So a lot of these games are 20. Remember the 2020 20-19 game, went for 2, didn't get it, right? A lot of the games are like that, right? We just lost to them, 31-19 last year. Daniel Jones didn't play in that game. That was Tommy DeVito, right? A lot of times when Daniel Jones plays, they don't score a lot of points. The fact is we don't score any points, and that's why we lose the damn game. We lost that Sunday night game a couple years back in 2022 off the bye after the tie. The tie was 20-20, right? Can't score enough points to win, 20-20. We scored 12 points in that game and lost the game 20-12. Like, this is the shit we do when we play the Giants. It's not like Daniel Jones is lighting the scoreboard up against us. He nickel and dime the shit out of us that night, and we allowed it to happen. It's not like Daniel Jones, this narrative, this myth that Daniel Jones plays his best. He just doesn't look as bad as he does because we don't force him to turn the ball over. He doesn't look as bad against us. He's not playing exceptional football. He's not going 24 of 31 for 298, or he's not going 27 of 33 for 307 and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. He's not doing that against us. They're modest numbers, and they're barely scoring points, but we're not scoring any. And that's why we lose the game. So there's this false narrative, this perpetuation of Daniel Jones being some kind of superhuman against us. No, he just finds a way to win because we suck ass. It's the same analogy I've given you before. They're ass, but we're ass with shit in it. Which one's worse? Shitty ass or just ass? It's the same analogy. He hasn't been great against us. He's had 1 or 2 really good games against us. Got to go back to his rookie season in 2019, 5 touchdown passes, probably his best performance against us. Not probably, it is his best performance against us. We were awful in 2019, though. But I want to dispel this notion and this narrative. I want to put it to rest. Daniel Jones stinks, and we need to prove that he stinks against everyone, not just the rest of the league except for Washington. He stinks. I told you Deonte Banks talking shit last year really got under my skin because I don't think Deonte Banks is all that good. Didn't love him coming out of Maryland. Don't be mad because we didn't draft you as a hometown product because you're not good. We didn't want you. He's better than Emmanuel Forbes, but that's not saying much, right? Not hard to do right now as it stands. Just because you're better than Forbes doesn't mean we should have drafted you. Kayvon Thibodeau running his mouth, flapping his gums. He's basic. Love to shut him up too. These are all reasons why I want to win this game. Division game, first game at home for Jaden Daniels, first game at home for Dan Quinn, first game at home for a lot of players who haven't played here before. Really would love to welcome them with a warm Washington Commanders welcome, right? Warm DMV welcome, not some road game at home. A lot of reasons why I want this thing to go well. But you know what the biggest reason why this game needs to go well, why Washington needs to win this game? All offseason, my mantra has been, it feels different because it is different, right? And I believe that. And even if this thing doesn't go the way that it should, because I'm sick and tired of tiptoeing around and pussyfooting around how I feel. I used to do that when Dan Snyder owned this team, and I knew there was this black cloud, and I was praying to the football gods, hey, just be lenient on us this week, please. Please. I don't have to do that anymore. The black cloud is gone. The football gods, they're going to keep it honest with us, right? And they know. They said, hey, we got a couple for you that we've been keeping stashed away. We owe you a few. When the time's due, we'll kick out, right? And I appreciate that. Football gods have been nothing but forthcoming with me, and I know what it is now, and I appreciate that. But I can't keep telling you guys that it feels different because it is different if the same shit keeps happening. It starts to fall on deaf ears, right? Here's the skinny. We're better than the Giants. You can sit here and do the PTSD thing and say, well, until we beat them, okay, that's fine. I'm not doing that shit anymore. I'm not afraid to say we're better than the Giants and we should beat them on Sunday, and I don't give a damn what anybody says about that. I feel that way. I know what I've watched. I know who they are. I know who we are, and now we need to go prove it. And if I think that we're different, things are different, then you have to go out and prove it's different. You can't do the same shit over and over and still try to convince people that it's different. Losing to the Giants is what the old group used to do. For no reason. Rivera and company would find ways, create ways, invent ways to lose to the Giants. That's old hat. And if you want me as a fan to believe that this is new, it's young, fresh, and new, go do something new. Go do something different. If it is different, go get me a different result. Go beat the damn Giants. They suck. They're begging to have a top 5 pick. Well, let's do our part to help them. Whether they get it or not is not our issue, not our problem. I don't give a damn what the Giants season turns into. I'm not a Giants fan. All I know is we need to do our part to help them get to where they ultimately want to go, which is to find themselves a new quarterback. Whether they win some games they have no business winning along the way and end up with the 9th pick in the draft and outside of the window that they need to be in to get one of those quarterbacks, that's their problem, not ours. But all I know is when we look at the right-hand column and they've got 11 losses this season, 12 losses, 10, whatever that number is, we need to contribute 2 of them. The first of which needs to come from Sunday. I can't keep saying that it feels different because it is different and we're still doing the same shit. Week 1, not tripping. That's the playoff team from last year. I can justify that one. Don't love the fact that we didn't tackle well. Don't love the self-imposed mistakes. Don't love the fact that we didn't create any turnovers, right? Don't love that we missed 2 field goals, kicked the ball out of bounds after we scored a touchdown. Don't love any of that shit. Those are self-imposed mistakes that get you beat. But that's a young team being young. I could chalk that up to youthful exuberance. Against a better team, you just can't get away with that shit, especially on the road. However, this week, no such luck with that excuse. You're playing a team that is worse than you, that stinks, that right now looks to be poorly coached. You lose games like this because you're not coached well enough. That's why we lost when Rivera was here. We weren't coached well. So worst coaching staff probably in the league. Every year we had one of the worst coaching staffs in the league. So you would lose games to teams you have no business. To me, you lose games to teams that are worse than you because you're poorly prepared and poorly coached. That's why. Because you got better players. Okay? You're a better team on paper. You should beat them. So what's the problem? You weren't prepared. You weren't coached well enough. Well, that's not the case anymore. We got a better coaching staff than the Giants. Even if you want to say the rosters are similar in talent, sure. Okay, fine. We're better coached than them. That should give us the edge. I don't believe that we're similar in talent either, because just the quarterback position alone takes them down a bunch of notches. They have no running backs to speak of. I could go on and on and on and on why I think we're a better team than them. But at the end of the day, the biggest reason why we need to win this game on Sunday is that we want different. We believe it's different. I can't speak for you. I believe it's different. It feels different because it is different. Go get me a different result on Sunday. Stop losing to inferior teams, especially at home. End that trend now. It's a new day. It's a new era. We got ourselves a quarterback. Let's go show the world that it's not the same Commanders. It's not the same organization that you could never trust to get it done. My dad called me, got his picks yesterday before the Thursday night game. And he said, look, man, I got to the Commanders and Giants game. I said, Giants and Commanders, who you got? He said, look, man, I'm rolling with y'all. Don't let me down. And I said, we not. We not. He don't like picking us. He's a Cowboys fan. Y'all know that. But he knows we're better than the Giants. He didn't pick us last week to beat Tampa Bay. And he doesn't pick us a lot of times because he does, unless he thinks we're good. Now, my dad is not biased. If he thinks we're good and they're going to win the game, he'll pick us. But we usually suck. So most weeks he doesn't pick us. Even games that I think we should win, he doesn't pick us. And in my mind, I'm saying, ooh, you're going to lose this game. You're going to regret that. And then we go out and we go lose. And he was right again. And I was like, I'm glad I kept my mouth shut. Didn't say anything to him. Because we embarrassed ourselves again, right? He got eliminated because of us in the survivor pool, so he's got PTSD. He picked us against the Bears last year. Got blown out on national television, and boy, was he pissed. He was pissed off. You say it's different, prove it. Here's your chance. Go out and beat a team you're better than. In other news, we heard from head coach Dan Quinn, and it kind of wrapped up the week for us. So we'll get to that here in a second. But before we do that, you know what we got to do. Got to get to the injury report. Good guys. Little disconcerting here. All right. So most of the guys on this thing, not on the injury report at all. Ertz, Owens, Coleman, Robinson, Scott. Great. Didn't think a lot of those guys would end up on the final injury report in terms of game status. But Newton, as we know, going to be questionable, probably going to be a game time decision. They'll take it all the way up until Sunday. So that's not a surprise. He was limited in practice today as well. But two guys cropped up on the injury report on Friday. That's never a good thing. That is never a good thing. When somebody who wasn't on the injury report all week all of a sudden shows up on the final day of the work week. Quan Martin, limited today with a hamstring. That's some scary shit. That's some scary shit, which will probably mean that a guy like Derek Forrest might be active on Sunday just in the event that something happens with Quan Martin. I don't think you'll see him be inactive this week. I think you'll see that extra safety up just in case Quan Martin has something go wrong there. I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie. Hamstrings always bother me, right? Good thing is, if he can get through this week, you get an extra day of rest next week because we play on Monday, right? And then Cleveland Farrell with the knee, he dealt with some of this in camp. Remember, he played in the first preseason game and then missed the final two preseason games and missed some practice time due to that knee injury. And now he's questionable after not practicing on Friday. So there was probably some swelling there and a little inflammation. My guess is he'll play. I remember Dan Quinn saying when they held him out of the that second preseason game versus the Dolphins, that if it were a regular season game, he would have pushed to play. Kind of feel like this is what it is. And I think he'll play, but you just never know the severity of it, right? So we're already thin as is on the defensive line, especially if Newton doesn't play. I really don't want to see Cleveland Farrell out of this game. I would really appreciate if he can go, right? But we'll see what happens there. So a little bit of, news that's not as good here on Friday from an injury standpoint. But we'll keep a watchful eye on that. Now we get to the ops and the New York Giants. Everything that we thought pretty much came to fruition here. Darius Slayton, Michael McFadden, and Malik Neighbors, all full participants, all going to play. None of them on the injury report. And then all the guys that have been DNP all week, which we said Thursday was that day, right? If you don't practice on Thursday, it's not looking too good for you. Nick McLeod, Darius Muasau, and Gunnar Olszewski all out of this game with various injuries. I think the most impactful of those three is Nick McLeod. He's been a thorn in our side. Every time we play them, it seems like he gets an interception. So him not playing is a pretty impactful thing. And then Gullar Olszewski is a pretty good return man. So him not playing doesn't help the Giants. And that means someone else is going to have to be back there, fielding punts, things of that nature. Maybe someone that's not accustomed to doing it. Hey, who knows? You might get a muffed punt here in this game because you don't have your normal punt returner back there. Who's to say? But that's the Giants injury report. So we'll get to DQ, and then we'll give away these tickets, and then we will get to the game and the game plan, final outcome, things of that nature, and get out of here. So DQ talked about this, upcoming game. He talked about the captains, how he kind of goes about the process of picking captains, and he's, various different things, maybe the way the guy played the week prior, maybe the way he's been, leading in practice that week. You could be your former team that you're playing against. These are all things that I thought about when he told us that we were going to do the week-to-week captain thing. So this week's captains are Percy Butler, Frankie Louvu, and Tyler Biadasz are the three captains this week. I'd like to think that Tyler Biadasz will be one of the captains when we play Dallas, but it could be, Dorrance Armstrong. All of the former Cowboys, I would think, would probably be captains that week. But you never know, right? When we play Carolina, I would like to think that Jeremy Chin and Frankie Louvu would be would be captains there, former Carolina Panthers. So those type of things I think about. But, who knows? We'll see. But those are the captains this week. And he spoke about Percy Butler and Frankie Louvu in particular, and how the team has really, taken to those two guys in particular. Percy Butler was a guy he spoke of in particular about how the team has rallied around him, how they were so excited when they heard he would be the game captain. He got the loudest ovation, and he's just a guy that the team loves. And so good for Percy, man. I thought he actually didn't play too poorly last week. So love when Percy shows up. Don't like when Percival shows up. So good for Percy being named the captain this week. He talked about Johnny Newton and the prospects of him potentially playing. He said he liked what he saw from him in the padded practice on Thursday. They're going to take it easy on him today, see how it goes. And then Saturday, they'll kind of reassess how he feels from 2 days of consecutive work, which is something he has not had since, coming back. So 2 days of work in a row, see how his body holds up. If they feel good about that, they'll test him game time before the game. And if everything checks out, he'll play. If not, they might hold him out one more week. So we'll see. DQ sounded pretty enthused and pretty excited about the prospects of him playing. So that makes me feel good about the prospects of him potentially playing this week. So we'll see. He talked about, this game and, being at home for the first time and all of that good stuff. And you want good vibes. And I think you're going to get a good turnout here just because it's Jaden Daniels and his first home game and people are excited to see him in person. And so I think you're going to get a good turnout from the faithful. Now you got to give them something to cheer about, which is where the last group used to go awry. Is they had a great opportunity against Arizona last year in week 1. And what did they do? They barely won the game. It didn't inspire confidence in the fans to come back out. And then, even after the big win against the Denver Broncos, people are excited. You're 2-0. And what do? You come home against the Bills and you get your brains bashed in, right? Every time the fan base gets excited and they want to come out, you give them a reason not to come out. And so this has to be different, right? Can't keep talking about it is different, right? It feels different because it is different. Make it different. More action, less words, right? So, Dan Quinn talked about the tackling and a lot of the things that they corrected this week. They feel good about the corrections that have been made. Now it's about going out and executing, right? And that's essentially what it is, and he talked about feeling good about the game plan, feeling like they, prepared well this week. And now it's about going out and executing, finding a way to get it done and doing that hard shit with good people. So Um, it was pretty much DQ saying, "Hey, look, man, we need to go get one at home. First one at home, let's go get it. All right, let's turn it loose. Let's be about that life. Let's play with that speed." And he said, I think this is the last thing we'll leave on with DQ. He talked about how he turned around the defense in Dallas. Nikki Javala asked him, "Well, you turned around a pretty bad defense in Dallas your first year. Um, how do you go about doing similar things here in Washington, essentially, with a group that wasn't very good last year?" And he said the biggest thing is turnovers. That's the thing that's going to help expedite that process is turnovers, creating turnovers. And he's like, we have to play fast. That's how you create turnovers. If there's any hesitation, and he's so right, because if there's any hesitation on a ball that you can break on, that's the difference between you getting one hand on it and getting a PBU and getting two hands on it and running through it and picking it off, right? Is that slight hesitation. If you know and you go, that's how you take it away, right? When you have an opportunity, you got to seize that opportunity. Benjamin St. Juste had that opportunity last week and he didn't take advantage of it, right? We got to start creating turnovers. We got to stop talking about almost creating turnovers and actually do it. We got to stop talking about almost having sacks and do it, right? And so he's like, we got to play at a level that allows us to create those turnovers. We got to play fast. We got to play faster. If you know, go. Like, what are you waiting on? No hesitation. Hit it. So I feel good about it, and it sounds like DQ does as well. And so that was DQ in a nutshell on Friday. He feels good heading into this first home game against a Giants team that we need to win. And I'll say this is another reason why we need to win this game as we head into the preview for the game. You don't win this game, I don't know when you're going to get your first win of the season. Like, this is big because I know Arizona in 2 weeks seems like a team ripe on the Commanders' win tree, ripe for the picking. Not so fast, my friends. We don't play well in Arizona. That's not a game that I'm comfortable with. I can't speak for you. I'm not comfortable going to Arizona and expecting to beat Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. I definitely am, and I don't care what happens with the Bengals on Sunday against Kansas City. We're not the Chiefs, right? I don't care what happens if they lose that game or not. I still don't expect to go into Cincinnati and beat the Bengals. I bet you T. Higgins plays against us, even if he doesn't play against the Chiefs this week. I bet you he doesn't. I bet you he plays against us. That's just our luck. Missed the first 2 games, comes back in week 3 and has 7 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown. But that's nor here nor there. We got plenty of time to talk about that. We need to win this game so we can get off the schneid. I don't want to be one of these teams where they start talking about teams that are winless to start the season. I don't want to be in that conversation. Let's get our win, get it out the way, and move on. Figure out the rest later. Let's get to this ticket giveaway, and then we'll go on to the game plan. So congratulations to the winner of the ticket giveaway. Keep in mind, you have, let's call it 24 hours to claim the tickets. And if you don't, the second winner will be contacted and the tickets will then go to the second winner. So please, if you've won the tickets here, you've got up until, I'm pretty much going to give you till about 6:00 p.m. on Saturday to claim the tickets. And if I don't hear anything from you, you don't reach out, and, various ways to reach out, email, social media, any way that's comfortable for you. Reach out to me. Say, hey, I won the tickets. I'll verify, right? I'll send you something, get you to verify it, and then we'll get you these tickets so you can be in the stands, bringing home the dub, all right? If you're the second winner, just be on standby. Keep checking your phone. I'll send you an email once the tickets have been given away, so you're not kind of still waiting to see. Once the tickets have been given away, I'll send you an email or I'll contact you to let you know that the tickets have been given away, so you don't have to be on standby, right? But you don't hear anything from me. No news is good news for you as the second winner. No news is good news. So let's get into the game plan this week. So I got 4 offensive keys, 4 defensive keys to victory versus the New York Giants. Let's start with the offense. Offensive keys. First things first, protect the Duke and get playmakers the ball. Can't turn the ball over. I don't need to really get into the specifics of that. That's an every week thing. I'm going to mention it every week because it bears mentioning every single week. Every time I don't say it, then we go out and have 3 turnovers, 4 turnovers, 5 turnovers. So I'm going to say it every week. Protect the Duke. Also, get playmakers the ball. And that includes Jaden Daniels. Like, him running with the football is a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because usually when he runs with the football, it nets us a first down. So I don't mind him carrying the football, but get the playmakers the ball. If your legs aren't necessary on this play, if you're Jaden Daniels and the receiver's open, get it to him. But I'm really talking about Terry McLaurin getting the ball early and often in this game. That's a big deal for me. Get him involved. I told you, I expect Terry to get a target on the opening possession of the game. I wouldn't be shocked if the first pass of the game goes to Terry McLaurin. That needs to happen, that he gets involved early. Not necessarily the first pass of the game, but I wouldn't be shocked if the first pass of the game goes to him. But they need to get him involved early. But really, I don't really give a shit who it is. Just get your playmakers involved, right? Get the guys that can make plays. Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Terry McLaurin, right? These are the guys that have proven that they are playmakers, guys that can make plays. Get them the football. Like, the more they touch it, the more that Zach Ertz touches the football, it's a good thing for this offense. Love to see Luke McCaffrey and Olamide Zaccheaus and Ben Sinnott and De'Ami Brown sprinkled in the mix as well. But look, I want the best guys with the football to touch the football. That's what I want. These next 3 are massive. Massive. And are going to go a long way in determining whether we win this game or not. First of those 3, finish drive with points. And I have in parentheses and in all caps, score points. The reason I say this is because the Giants don't score points. They were the only team in the NFL not to score a touchdown last week. They were the only team in the NFL last week not to score double digits, okay? They don't score points. And I just outlined that with the John Keim tweet, that the biggest issue for the Giants or Washington against Daniel Jones in particular is we don't score points when we play them. And it's not like the Giants are lighting the scoreboard up either. We just don't score points. So their 20 is enough, right? So their 19 is enough against us because we're not scoring points. If you score points, I guarantee you the Giants can't keep up. The Giants aren't just going to wake up and magically score 30 in this game. I assure you of this. They won't. I'm not telling you that they won't score 20 or 23. They're not scoring 30, though. So the closer you are to 30, the more likely it is you win this game. Score points. Finish drives with points. I'm talking to you, Austin Seibert. We get in the field goal range. We send you out there for a 52-yard kick. Please make the damn kick. The last thing we need to do is give the Giants great field position and miss an opportunity to put points on the scoreboard. We had 5 drives that had opportunities to go for points. 6 if you count the miss to Terry to open the second half in the third quarter. Out of 8 drives, we had 5 scoring opportunities. 6 if you count that one drive. And yet somehow we only scored on 3 drives. Finish drives with points. If you're in scoring range, score. Continue to be great in the red zone. We were 3 of 3 last week. Let's keep that party going. You get in the red zone, score a touchdown. Be aggressive if you have to. 4th and 2, go for it. Be aggressive, because if you apply pressure to the Giants, they'll wilt. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Next key to the game, offensively, avoid penalties and mistakes. And in parentheses, I have setbacks. What we don't need is a holding penalty on 2nd and 7. Now it's 2nd and 17. Not that we can't overcome it. With Jaden's legs, anything's possible. But that's a setback that we don't need. All right? Don't want it to be 3rd and 6, and then you have a false start penalty. Now it's 3rd and 11. Don't need that. Don't make this game any harder than it needs to be. Avoid the penalties and mistakes. That's how you let a team that's not better than you beat you, by making mistakes, penalties, missing opportunities. You want to let the Giants beat you? You want to instill them with confidence? Do the shit we did last week. Miss field goals. Have 3rd down penalties that extend drives for them. Drop an interception. That shit'll have blown coverages, missed tackles. That'll get you beat. Trust me, it'll get you beat. We got to look like a different team this week, and I expect us to. Avoid the mistakes. Avoid the penalties. Then this is huge. This last one on offense. This is huge. Set the tone early. You know, one of the biggest things when I look back on all these Giants games and these losses, the tie, all of these games, with the exception of the tie, you know what was alarming in all those games? How slow we started in those games. Because a lot of times in these games, we're the better team. Even the years we get swept by the Giants, we're better than them. Won the division in 2020, we were better than them. 2022, they finished with a better record than us, but going into our first matchup, we were better than them. We had a better record than them. We were better than the Giants for much of that season. They came off the pace and caught us, if you recall, in 2022. We started out slow, and I think the Giants had started out really well, but then they had this little bit of a malaise. We caught up to them. We passed them. We won, remember, 6 out of 7 that season. We were 7-5 going into that first Giants game. We're better than them. And the teams that we had beaten, better than the teams they had beaten. But somehow we managed to play down to their level and let them beat us, because we don't set the tone early. The only game that I recall us setting the tone early in was the tie in 2022 in the first game in the Meadowlands. We were up 10-0 in that game. We should have been 14. If you recall, Heineke missed the open Logan Thomas for a touchdown, and we had to settle for a field goal. If Terry doesn't make a crazy one-hand catch behind him and run in for a touchdown, it's probably 6-0 instead of 10-0. We started fast and then we blew it. But outside of that, we never start fast against them. And the one thing a team that isn't very good needs is confidence. They're searching for that confidence. Don't give it to them. Set the tone early. Jump on these boys. That's what the Vikings did. Jumped on their ass early, pause. And at that point, the Giants started to feel the pressure mount, and they weren't able to overcome it. Jump on them. Kevin O'Connell went for it on a 4th down and goal from about the 3. Like, scared money don't make money. Got the touchdown. Like, that's the shit we need to be doing. You're in the red zone, go for 7. Go for the jugular. If you don't get it, fine. But DQ talked about being aggressive today. That's part of being aggressive. You got to go for it. Defensive keys to victory. First thing up, stop the run. The Giants don't have a run game that I respect right now. They're going to have to prove to me that they can run the football. I didn't see any semblance of a run game. I talked to Bad Dog, and he said, well, we really didn't have an opportunity. We were down, so that's cool. I don't respect what I saw. I don't see a semblance of a run game that makes me feel like they should be able to run the ball. We had 8 tackles for loss. I like the way our run defense responded last week. I want to see it again. Shut that run game down. And the biggest reason why you need to stop the run is because I want to make Daniel Jones beat us, because I don't think he can. I'm not sugarcoating shit anymore. I'm going to speak my piece. I don't think he can beat us. Daniel Jones ain't shit. Stop the run and make him beat us. Don't let him have a crutch. Speaking of which, eliminate explosive. This ain't limit. This ain't the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not asking you to limit the explosives. I'm saying eliminate them shits altogether. and coverage busts. Eliminate them shits. Eliminate explosives and coverage busts. Make the Giants nickel and dime their way down the field. If Danny Dimes wants to be Danny nickel and dimes, let him be. Because, again, the more he snaps the ball, all it takes is one snap for this dude to undo a 10-play drive. All it takes is one decision from this clown to take a positive drive and turn it into a nightmare. I've watched this dude go on 14-play drives and then on the 15th play at the opposing team's 4-yard line throw a pick six, 99 yards. I've watched him do it. I've watched him throw interceptions in the end zone on the 16th play of a drive against the Steelers. Watched him do it. Opening night of the season. Watched him do it against the Seahawks. 15-play drive. Pick six at the goal line. 99 yards the other way. So just keep making him snap the football. Keep making him snap the football. Every time he snaps, it advantage us. So you can't give up big plays. Which means you can't have coverage busts. Communication is going to be key. We heard that word all week long. Let's see it. Don't tell me. Show me. Next key to victory. Tackle, tackle, tackle. Okay? Tackling was horrendous last week. That is not a representation of who we are defensively. I don't believe that for 1 second. We are not a poor tackling team. That's not what we stand for. That's not who we're going to be. That was a week 1 thing. Tackle, tackle, tackle. We should have had 6 sacks last week instead of 2. I think we had 2. Might have had just 1. Whatever the case may be, we should have had 5, 6, or 7. We gave up way too many yards on screens and dump downs because we didn't tackle well. We made Rashad White look like Marshall Faulk last week. Christian McCaffrey, nah. Shut that shit down this week. Tackle. Last but not least on defense, ball is life and start fast. I don't have to explain to you what ball is life is. I'm not even getting into that this week. Let's just see if they take care of business and do anything with that. And then we got to start fast. Just like I said with the offense, set the tone early. The defense needs to start fast. You know what's going to really piss me off? And it's not that we can't overcome it. You know what really would piss me off is if we win the toss, we defer to the second half, Giants get the football first, and they march it right down the field. And even if it's a field goal, I'm not going to be happy about that. I don't want them scoring any points early, right? I would love to jump on top of these boys 14-0. 10-0, 14-0, 13-0. But even if they score on the opening possession, a field goal, okay, sucks. Bucks scored a field goal, but I didn't love it, but I wasn't pissed off. What I don't want to give up is an opening possession touchdown to the Giants. That'll really piss me off. Because that's the old regime. That's the old shit we used to do, right? Come out lethargic and lazy and give some shit up. And then now the Giants have confidence because they're already coming in here thinking that they're going to beat us. All the players that have been there over the last 2-3 years, all they've ever experienced against us is success. So they are expecting to wipe all of the misery of last week away. But, we got Washington next week. We about to get off the schneid. We about to turn our shit around. We got Washington there. They're thinking they're going to come into Northwest Stadium and get a dub. That's what they're used to. No, F that shit. Set the tone early. Start fast defensively. Get after Daniel Jones' ass. Pause. Shut that damn run game down. Make him beat us. Because as I said before, I don't think he can. He's going to have to make a believer out of me. Because this is Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr.'s defense. This ain't the shit he saw the last 3-4 years. That was bullshit under Jack Del Rio. Takes me to my final outcome of this game. I told you what I thought it was going to be with Bad Dog, so if you were paying attention to that, you already knew what my score was. 27-16, Commanders get it done. I do think this is going to be a close game. Score is going to be 20-16 late. A lot closer than I would like it to be because I really think we can blow these clowns out. I really do. But somehow, some way, we're going to find ourselves in a 20-16 ball game with about 6 minutes to go or so in the fourth quarter. And we're going to put together, that's not accurate. With about 8 or 9 minutes to go in the game. Because if it's 6 minutes, you're just trying to get first downs to end the game. You're not looking to score. We're going to be looking to score. So it's going to be, let's say, with about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, we get the football and we're up 20-16. Let's say the Giants, at that point, it was a 20-13 game and they kick a field goal. Because if they score a touchdown, if they're down 20-9, they're going to go for 2 to make it 20-17. They're not going to kick an extra point there. So they're going to go for 2. So it's 20-13. They put together a drive at the end of the third into the fourth, or early stages of the fourth, kick a field goal, make it 20-16. And then we get the football and Jaden takes us down the field. We score a touchdown with about 3 minutes to go in the game and put it out of reach, 27-16. And that's the final score. Commanders get the win. We feel good. And we start to see the changes that are necessary for this team to be what I think they can be this year, which is a very competitive team week in and week out. So what says you? Leave it down in the comment section. What do you see happening in this game versus the Giants? Can't wait to read your responses. I know they're going to be all over the damn place because so many people have so many feelings towards the Giants and they're just not going to believe until they see it. So I can't wait to read your responses down in the comment section. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T here on Commanders Nightly News. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys on Sunday. If you're a member of the mob, you know what it is. We'll be live during the game together watching it. And hopefully it's a joyous occasion and not one filled with misery. After the game, I will be live for the first 30 minutes over on Bleacher Report. They did hit me up and ask me to do the post-game show. So I will do that. And then after those 30 minutes have elapsed, I'll be live on my channel. So about 4:45, you can expect me to show up. And because the game probably be over somewhere in that 4:05, 4:15 range. So no later than 4:45, we should be getting it in on Louie T Network, talking about the game and reacting to what we just witnessed. Hopefully a Commanders win as we even up our record to 1-1 on the season. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T here on Commanders Nightly News. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell if you haven't already done so for more great content. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys on Sunday. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40.